Let's start our new speedrun. Chicken to Dinosaur, episode 1. E4. So he plays E5. Now we develop our knight by playing knight to F3 to attack this pawn. Let's see what it does. And he plays knight to C6 to defend this pawn. We have many options here. We have bishop to B5, which is Royal Lopez opening. We have D4, which is the Scotch game. And we have bishop to C4, which is Italian game. So in this game, I am going to play bishop to C4, which is Italian game. We put pressure on the F7 pawn. So later we can play knight to G5 and attack on F7, which is called fried liver attack. Okay, our opponent is thinking. He played knight to F5 to attack this bishop. Our bishop is undefended. So we can keep this bishop by playing bishop to E2. We have many options here. We can play B3 to defend this bishop. We can drop back the bishop to B3, and if knight takes, we can take back with the A pawn. But I think we can take this pawn, because when black played knight to A5, this pawn left undefended. So when we take this pawn, we will also be defending this bishop, and we will be also attacking the pawn on F7 with our knight and the bishop. So I think we should take this pawn. We are attacking this pawn with our knight and the bishop, and we are defending this bishop with our knight. So if this knight takes our bishop, we can take back. This is very common at 100 level. Okay, so he blundered. We have two options here. We can take this pawn with our knight, and then we will be attacking black queen and also the rook. So black queen will have to move, and then we can take the rook. But then black can take our bishop with its pawn, and our knight will also be trapped there. So I think we should take this pawn with our bishop. We take this pawn with our bishop. It's a check. Black king cannot take our bishop because bishop is defended by our knight. So black king has only one move, which is king to E7, and he played it. And now we note a thing that our bishop is only defended by this knight. So black can later play pawn to D6, and we will have to move our knight. And when we move our knight, he can take our bishop. So first we should move our bishop. We have many squares here. We can play bishop to D5. We will be attacking the rook. And we can drop back our bishop to B3. And knight will take, we can take back. But I think we should play bishop to D5. And I will explain that later. Let's see, we are attacking the rook. And if he plays C6, okay, so he just blundered. We can just take this rook, because a rook has more value than the bishop. And when we take the rook, black queen will take, and then we will be up an exchange. So we take the rook. Let's see. Okay, queen takes. Queen is attacking this pawn. So we have many ways to defend this pawn. We can play queen to F3, and we will be also targeting the pawn on F7. We will be targeting the square on F7, and we will be defending this pawn. Or we can develop our knight by playing C3. But if we play knight to C3 to defend this pawn, black can deflect our knight by playing B4, and then we will have to move our knight. But then if black plays B4, we can play knight to D5. It will be a check, and black king will have to move. But I think we should go for easier option, which is queen to F3. This is uncomplicated at 100 level. This is common. So now we are threatening to give this check. And after we give a check on F7, black king has only one move, which is king to D6. And then I will play knight to C3. And black just blundered the checkmate. We can just take this bishop. Bishop is undefended, and When we take the bishop, we will be controlling these three squares, and it will be also check and checkmate block because black king does not have any square to move its king. So we take this bishop and it's just checkmate. Okay, let's start another game. We start another game. So we have just crossed 200 ELO and our opponent plays e4. We will play e5. We open our bishop and also we open our queen. So this is not a good move. I think he want to fianchetto to his bishop, but his bishop will be biting on the dust because white on pawn is the hurdle on the in the way of white bishop. So we keep developing. We develop our knight. We attack this pawn. Okay, so if we take this pawn, white can take our pawn. First, we should defend our own pawn. So we play knight to c6. We develop our knight. We defend this pawn. Now this pawn is undefended, and now he defended. So I think white idea is to play bishop to g5, so he can pin our knight, and we will not be able to move our knight. But that does not do anything. We can just play h6. Let's develop our bishop. We play bishop to c5. Let's see what he does. Bishop to g5, I will play h6. Okay, he is thinking. Also, we are ready to play d6 and we will play bishop to g4. And then this knight will be pinned and then we can play knight to d4. Because if white knight takes our knight, we can take white queen. This is a common blunder which low rated players make because they cannot handle the pressure at this level. So he is thinking. Let's see what it does. Okay, so he plays b3. Not a good move. I think he want to fianchetto this dark square bishop. We will play d6. We support this pawn with our knight and this pawn. And now we are ready to play bishop to g4. And we are ready to play knight to d4. Okay, so he made the correct move. Okay, so white played g3 to fianchetto his bishop on g2. But the g3 pawn created a weakness on h3. We can delay white castling. We can just play bishop to h3. And I don't think white will be able to castle then. Okay, let's play this. But I think that is just a time wasting move. We can just castle. Let's castle. Okay. Now we can take this knight, bishop takes. Then we have this bishop to d4. But let's bring this rook into the game. We play queen to d7. And then we will play rook to e8. We bring our last piece into the game. We keep building the pressure. We can take this knight and play bishop to d4. And this knight will not be able to move. He will have to move it. He will have to defend his knight with the bishop. Because if knight moves, we can take the rook. I think we can take it. Black position is very better. White has a weakness on h3. Okay, let's play this. We attack the knight, and if knight moves, we can take the rook. So I think he can play bishop to b2. Okay, he blundered, and this is what happens at this level. We can just take this rook. As I mentioned in the previous game, that a rook has more value than the bishop in a case of exchange. But white is not able to take our bishop. So currently we are up a full rook. We can drop back our bishop to d4. But we have a move here. We have a6. We attack the knight. And then if knight moves to a3, we can drop back our bishop to d4. I don't want to trade that dark square bishop. Bishops control more square. Bishops are okay. We drop back the bishop. We bring the bishop back into the game. Now this pawn is pinned. So okay, this pawn we can drop back our bishop to a7 or b6 because bishop on a7 is a lot safer and it is doing the same job what it was doing on d4. It is pinning the pawn on f2. Yes, so now this pawn on f2 is pinned, which means the pawn on g3 is undefended. So we can play queen to h3 and then we can try to attack this pawn because this pawn is pinned. He cannot take because our bishop is aiming at the white king on g1. We can play queen to h3. Let's go here. At this level, I don't think he will see it. I don't think he will see it. Maybe he will play bishop to g2. Okay. Now we cannot take this pawn because this knight is creating the hurdle between the way of the bishop and the pawn on f2. Now we cannot take this pawn. But we have a move. We can take this knight, but white can take with the bishop. And then we will not be able to take this pawn. So I think we should play rook to d8. This move does nothing. We can just, if we play bishop to g4, we can take with our knight. So this is a blunder. This is a free pawn because we can take this pawn, and if white takes, we can take back with our bishop or knight. Let's see. Okay, this is not good. We can just take this bishop. And if he takes with queen, we will have to take his queen. Okay. And now we can take this pawn. We can take this pawn. And now the same thing, that this pawn is pinned by our dark squared bishop. So now we are able to take this pawn. Let's see what it does. Let's see how he defends this pawn. He has many ways to defend it. He can play knight to e3, or he can play queen to d3 to defend this pawn and to attack this pawn. But if we play queen to d3, we can take this knight because this knight is only defended by this queen. So queen to d3 will be a mistake for white. Okay, so he blundered. He forgot that this pawn is undefended. And now we can take this pawn. He cannot take because we have our dark squared bishop here. And then if king go here, we can take this pawn. It will be a check again. And white just resigned because white was just down a rook and 3 pawns and also a minor piece. Okay. This was the end of the first episode. And now I will see you in the second episode of the speedrun. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel.